No, it has been a tough couple of years for all of us all around the world, where we have had to deal with the repercussions, the effects of the COVID-19 pandemic. And even though life is slowly returning back to normal, especially here in Malaysia, we try. We're in the endemic stage where societies all around the world have learned to live with COVID-19, and live with it we must in order for us to move on ahead. So without any further ado, let us have a look at what we have in store for you today. Today, ladies and gentlemen, we will begin with 3 keynotes from 3 respected speakers, and of course the first one being the one and only Dr. Imran Qureshi. And as you all may have heard, Dr. Imran, who was previously here in Malaysia, is now working in the UK, where he is currently working at Teesside University, and it's been quite some time since we've heard from him, so let's see what he has to say after this. The second keynote speaker comes from my university, Universiti Teknologi Malaysia, a woman who I greatly admire, and I've worked with her on multiple occasions. Ladies and gentlemen, the second speaker that we will hear from is Professor Dr. Haniza Sarmin, who is the Associate Director for Global Strategy and Engagement for UTM International, and she is Professor of Mathematics at the Faculty of Science, UTM, Universiti Teknologi Malaysia. And the third keynote speaker that we will hear from will be Lieutenant Colonel Professor Technologist Dr. Hajah Norazah Muhammad Suki. She is Professor of Marketing and E-Commerce, and she's also Deputy Dean, Research Innovation and Knowledge Transfer at the Othman Yop Abdullah Graduate School of Business in UUM, or Universiti Utara, Malaysia, which is the Northern University of Malaysia, but at the KL campus. Now, after we hear from the 3 keynote speakers, we will go through some of the main points of the whole conference, where we will hear how many participants we have, how many papers are going to be presented, what the conference themes are, what the modes of presentation are, and there will be a very, very, very special announcement right at the end. So stay tuned for that, because ladies and gentlemen, it is really, really special, mark my words. And so, ladies and gentlemen, without any further ado, let us proceed to the first item on the agenda, which is the keynote speaker and also the welcoming address. Ladies and gentlemen, all the way from Teesside University, United Kingdom, please welcome my friend Dr. Imran Qureshi, the founding director of Connecting Asia and also the president of the Pakistan chapter of the APRA, the Association of Professional Researchers and Academicians. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Dr. Imran Qureshi.
Thank you, Dr. Abdullah. It is always a blessing to have you with us. Thank you very much. I would like to extend my thanks to all my participants and the viewer. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are. I'm Dr. Muhammad Imran Qureshi, and this time from UK. Now, as we know that this conference, 6th Asia International Multidisciplinary Conference 2020, is another online conference conducted by Connecting Asia. And we know this is due to COVID pandemic. We were forced to do all the events online, but I believe and I can announce with pleasure that this would be, and I hope so, this would be our last fully online conference, because we are moving our conferences to hybrid mode where people can join face to face, and at the same time they can join virtually as well. Okay, so the pandemic not only affected our conferences, but it affected almost all aspects of human life, and the way we do businesses, the way we were having our social interactions, and at the same time the way we were dealing with our daily activities. Everything have been changed since 2019, when this COVID-19 have started, and the countries were forced to restrict the movements, and that jeopardized everything. And the way these things were, changing our living and everything we do and all aspect of human life, it allow us to develop a world which is fully digitalized, and this digital transformation can be seen, and we are witnessing this digital transformation. Now, during this time, we were interacting more with the technology, and we were doing our tasks. A lot of dependency on the technology were there, and we were dealing with the situations where most of the time we are working with the technology, and we were living a virtual life which might not be experienced before this. And this unprecedented digitalization allow us to develop enormous opportunities. We have developed so many new products, so many new businesses, and so many things. But the question still remains same. What coming next? Are we prepared for that? What is that, and how we are going to deal with the situation which is coming next? I mean that this digital transformation led us to many positive outcomes, but due to this COVID-19, we know that we are already in recession. All over the world, we are looking for this, experiencing this economic shock, and I am not sure how people and countries are prepared themselves to deal with this situation. Obviously, this pandemic has given us a lot of opportunities, but at the same time, coming up next is, more than what we experienced during the COVID pandemic. We have survived from the COVID pandemic, but we will not be survived if we are not prepared for what coming next. We need to develop technologies, we need to develop businesses, many things. So we need to be proactive. So we need to encounter, or we need to be able to encounter these type of the situation in future. So that's why we need to develop solutions and the businesses before the problem occurs. So we need to be proactive in order to, save ourselves for future pandemics, and also from the economic shock and economic recession we are currently experiencing. And it is just a tip of iceberg. We have just started to witness what we have done in the past 2 or 3 years. And that's why we need to be more innovative, and we need to generate out of the box thinking and the solutions to the problems all around our human life. And obviously we need to be more resilient in order to survive, not only survive, but in order to grow in the future scenario. Now, we understand that, or I believe that this digital transformation led us to many things, but now the way we spend our past 2.5 years, it is going to end up with some economic recession, and we are already experiencing the petrol prices are skyrocket, and dollar price. You can see in all aspect of human life, the prices are changing very quickly, and the things are out of our hands. So we need to think solutions out of the box. We need to think innovative product, innovative ideas that brings us resilience, that brings us, that give us the strength we can overcome future challenges. And that should not be possible without different people working together, versatile. So we must be able to work within our field, but at the same time we need to work with other fields as well. And that is the versatility or the multidisciplinary approach we need to counter the future. As we know that the digital transformation which we are experiencing and which we experienced so quickly due to this COVID-19 pandemic, and I have explained this in many of my different presentations that this COVID-19 have already act as a catalyst in the digital transformation, and the process goes so quick, and maybe we have skipped many steps that brings us to new challenges. The challenges in terms of the technology, we have to develop new technology, because the digital transformation, there are 4 components. The technology is the first component which we must need to look into. So the new technology have been developed. Obviously, the data is the future. Those who are controlling the data, they are controlling the future. And that's why we need to understand how this data is being controlled and how this data is being used and how we can get benefit from that data and how we can act as an agent of digital transformation. Now, on top of that, digital transformation is about people, because when new technologies have been emerged, new products have been brought into the market, obviously new skills, new way of living, new way of thinking have been emerged as well. So we need to adopt these new technologies. We need to learn new techniques, new tools, and many other things. And we need to unlearn which we are not using, the abilities and the features which we are not using. And so these transformations, digital transformation, is not just about the technology or data, it is also about the people, and finally it is also about the processes. Obviously, we have to change the processes in order to adopt digital transformation, in order to be more resilient, in order to be more responsive to these digital changes. We need to be more flexible, more, the process need to be reshaped, the process need to be altered according to our digital transformation requirement. Now you can see these 4 components, and this is the most important part. This is not possible. The digital transformation is not one-man show. It is not one field. It is all about working multidisciplinary. You need to work with different people. You need to work with different fields of life in order to provide sustainable solution for future needs. So this is where our AIMC, 6th Asia International Multidisciplinary Conference comes in. So we are looking forward to document the way through which multidisciplinary research can help us in post-COVID digital transformation. So digital transformation is already there. So what we need to do is we need to see interdisciplinary, all fields, how they are working for digital transformation and what lessons we can learn from that. So the theme for this AIMC 2020 is a multidisciplinary pathway to post-COVID digital transformation. This is very important and very concerning theme, and this is where this AIMC 2022 is very important. So we are looking forward for all fields: engineering, mathematics, life sciences, business, education, and rest of the fields which contribute in human life. We are looking forward to see how they are working for digital transformation in the post-COVID era. So this is an important topic and an important theme for current scenario. So the conference, obviously we have received more than 450 submissions, which is another milestone we achieved, and in future we are going to do our own conferences face-to-face, and I hope so. We are going to resume and we meet face-to-face, and we will bring the best minds in front of you so you can discuss and learn from them in the future conferences as well. And this is what we done in this conference as well. Through the online technologies, we were able to bring many people from different organizations and different countries, and these are our collaborators. With the help of these collaborators, we were able to successfully conduct this conference. So I encourage all participants to participate in this event as much as you can and learn how you can prepare yourself for future and prepare yourself for future digital transformation and overcoming the recessions and all the challenges we are facing in the future. This is for the conference, and I believe everybody will have a very nice experience of the conference, and we are already in the past conference, AIC 2021, we have already developed a new database which is completely citable, and we have bringing many new concepts and new things in terms of conferencing for you in order to improve your conferencing experience and the learning and the networking experience for all of you. In the same way, you will feel that this AIMC 2022 will give you opportunity to develop your network, to develop your learning process, and to develop your research. And you can also share your research finding to the wider audience. I hope so. You will enjoy this conference and you will contribute to the maximum. Thank you very much, all of you, and have a very nice day. I wish you a very good conferencing experience. Thank you and see you later.
Thank you very much, Dr. Imran Qureshi. It's great to hear from you again, and we hope that you're doing well over there in the UK. And I can honestly say that everyone here in Malaysia who knows you, we all miss you greatly. Now, ladies and gentlemen, let us move on to the next item on the agenda, and that is the keynote address or the keynote speech from Professor Dr. Haniza Sarmin. And as I've indicated before, Professor Haniza is Associate Director of Global Strategy and Engagement at UTM International, and she is the Professor of Mathematics at the Faculty of Science, Universiti Teknologi Malaysia. And she is a lady whom I greatly admire. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Professor Dr. Haniza Sarmin.
Assalamualaikum and greetings to all participants of 6th Asia International Multidisciplinary Conference, AIMC 2022. Thank you to the organizer for this opportunity to share my research titled Splicing System from Biology to Computer Science and Mathematics. I'm Professor Dr. Haniza Sarmin from Department of Mathematical Sciences, Faculty of Science, Universiti Teknologi Malaysia. Let me share my slide. As I mentioned that the title is Splicing System from Biology to Computer Science and Mathematics. So start with DNA computing. DNA computing has emerged in the last 20 years as an exciting new research field at the intersection of biology, computer science, mathematics, and engineering. And from 1950s, the notion of performing computation at the molecular level was realized only in 1994 with one experiment by Edelman solving Hamiltonian path problem using DNA. And then since then, the field has blossomed rapidly with the development of significant theoretical and experimental results by researchers from interdisciplinary area. So different models of molecular computation have been proposed in scientific society. And in my research, it includes splicing models and also sticker models. So let's go to the biology part, in which we start with the DNA structure, what is restriction enzymes, and DNA ligase in the structure of DNA splicing system. So in the structure of DNA, as we know, it's a 𝙼𝚊𝚕𝚊𝚢 acid, and this is hereditary material in not only human, but also in other organisms like animals and plants. And this DNA consists or made up of nucleotides, which is phosphate group, base, and pentose, which is a carbon sugar. And under the base, we have the adenine, cytosine, guanine, and thymine, as we symbolize as A, C, G, and T. And from this nucleotide, we have these 4 bases, as I mentioned, and this forms the basic of our mathematical modeling. And two single strands of DNA we can link together with hydrogen bonds and between the bases, and it form a helical shape, which is called a double-stranded DNA. And in 1953, it was shown that this base can join only complementarily, A with T and G with C. So the structure of DNA can be formed like this: C with G and A with D. So these DNA molecules can be cut by restriction enzymes at only specific place based on the cutting sites of what we call restriction enzyme. So this restriction enzyme here is called AC1 and AFE1, and those are the cutting place. And this restriction enzyme has a triple known as the cleavage pattern, in which we have this triplet as a rule. We call it rule in the left context, crossing, and the right context. As an example, this restriction enzyme, EcoR1, is isolated from this bacterium, and it discovered from this Escherichia coli with the strain stereotype. And the cleavage pattern of the EcoR1 is given in the left context, crossing, and the right context. So when we have this DNA, stranded DNA, this restriction enzyme, when we put it in, it will cut the double-stranded or single-stranded DNA at a specific place. So we call it restriction sites. As an example of these two restriction enzymes, EcoR1 and MFER1. So we have these DNA strands, and then we put it in, and they cut, and they are linked together. And how they are linked together? We use DNA ligase. So this is linking again DNA strands together to form this bond. And before we even want to look at the model of this splicing system, we want to see how this is done. We call it as a wet experiment in a biology lab. How we have the DNA strand that we put in, and then we cut in there. So the molecular works of splicing system has been firstly done by Lon and Reddy in 1999 using two enzymes. And then we started, Fong was my first PhD student. She do the model using restriction enzymes, a different one. And then later on followed by Karimi, Yusuf, Ahmad, and Ismail. So they were all my PhD students. And we published our results in the paper as mentioned in the bottom. These are just sharing some photos. We first went to Binghamton State University of New York to see how it is done over there as the first wet experiment of the splicing system. And then we came back and we started to do it in our biology lab. So that's Dr. Fong and some students at that time in the biology department helping us. And then this is another student, Fariba, in 2012. Then we have Azrin in 2015. And recently, Nurul Izzati finished her experiment of splicing system in 2020. And we started to do the modeling since it would take time for doing this in the biology lab. So the original splicing system and splicing language are defined by head. The certain examples is given a splicing system, given the symbols, given a string of molecules, and the enzymes. How do we cut this and model this theoretically without going to the lab work? Then we come up with this model in which we do this theoretically. We expect that this will be cut and recombined using this rule, which we call a splicing language. And the lab that we did, we expect that the result will be on the left, in which we have this involving two enzymes. After we tried in the lab, then the result, actually you can see this result here, the ladder is the same as what we expected. So it has shown that we can actually replace the lab work with the theoretical work from our model. So this is involving just one restriction enzyme and another restriction enzyme. And we came up also with the programming code. So we go from biology, we go to computer science, because formal language theory is splicing system is also combined in computer science, and we also do programming code to develop the GUI for the DNA splicing system. How do we put in the DNA and come out with the graphical user interface to find the DNA splicing system involving only one rule as the restriction enzyme or two rules. So we came up with this graphical user interface. For the mathematical part, graph is very important and has many applications in mathematics. So we try to accommodate splicing system in graph theory. So a graph consisting of the nodes, vertices, and edges that came from the fact that the alphabet over the A, C, G, and T. And we have this graph representation of the DNA string. And we have the rules combined in the graph. And DNA splicing system and graph splicing system actually map together. So this can be also done. And for DNA splicing system, which is modeled as one-dimensional string, we also describe informational microbiomolecules in three-dimensional form to the graph splicing system. And with this graph splicing system, we have this splicing scheme, splicing rule, and end-cut splicing. So these are going on. And I'm not going to go over all the real definition of the graph splicing scheme, but it is defined in 1995, in which you have the cleavage pattern and transform the graph representation. With the graph splicing rule and the enzymes that we have, we came out with a regular and not regular graph, and we also covered the graph with different enzymes. So the graph splicing system has been defined, and we came up with the end-cut splicing system by 𝚑𝚊𝚕𝚊𝚢. We further this research and we received the end-cut splicing. And this is the folding technique of end-cut semi-graph folding. So that's the end of the graph that we are still doing. And for the list of publication, these are some work on the splicing system, and you can see from 2010, you can find in my website 2014, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19 until up to now. So with that, I thank you.
Thank you very much, Prof. Haniza. Again, it's always great to hear from you, and I think we'll be meeting each other sometime soon around the campus. Once again, thank you for that. Thank you very, very much, Prof. Haniza. And ladies and gentlemen, let's move on to the third item on the agenda, which is the third keynote address, or the third keynote speech from Lieutenant Colonel Professor Technologist Dr. Hajah Norazah Muhammad Suki. And again, she is Professor of Marketing and E-Commerce, and she is also Deputy Dean of Research and Innovation and Technology Transfer at the Othman Yop Abdullah Graduate School of Business for Universiti Utara Malaysia, UVM, the Northern University of Malaysia. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Professor Norazah Muhammad Suki.
Okay. Thank you, Dr. Abdullah, for the introductions. I would like to thank the organizer for having me as a keynote speaker. My name is Lieutenant Colonel Professor Technologist Dr. Hajah Norazah Muhammad Suki. I'm here to share the input regarding quality publications matters. I am Professor of Marketing and E-Commerce from Universiti Utara, Malaysia. Okay. When the quick detail that in every publications, we have to think about the outcome of the publication. In that sense, quality play a very significant role. And when we talk about quality, every these publications require to have a structure. And this is by Elsevier. If you can see all Elsevier publications, they do have the structure like title, abstract, keyword. They follow Imran, introduction, research review, methodology, results and discussion, conclusion, and etc. Right? So that's what we're supposed to have, a complete, a comprehensive content of the article. And for quality publications, we have to ensure that the outcome content of the publication should have the ability to attract readers. By looking at the first impression is the title itself. It has to be it has to have interest. The reader could read and go through in detail of your article. So the title is very important. Other than that, the article need to be right precisely, need to be clearly explained every section of the article. So quality publication also matters if you can at the beginning you you have to say you write clearly, and you ensure that the research is having a clear problem statement. You have a clear research objective, research questions, and that problem statement will help you to build your hypothesis formulations and formulate your hypothesis formulation. And thereafter, your finding align to your research objectives, and finally your discussion zoom at your discussing how better you can improve the problem statement earlier, right? And not only that, the content of the article, you have to ensure that you have presented clear and readable figures and table, right? And in terms of the methodology of the article, quality publication really matters if you can have all these research onion in a research work where you have a very clear explanation. What is your philosophical assumption? What is the approach that you employ? What are the research strategies you go for? And the choice of research design, the time horizon involved in your research, right? So all are very important for you to talk in greater detail. At the end, all this clear methodology will guide you technique of statistical, where we call it technique and procedure for data analysis. So all this have to be very detailed in your methodology. So this is another component of quality publications. Other than that, you have to ensure that your findings is also advanced existing understanding, right? So the findings, if you can have like moderating, mediating together, if you can have like any advancement of existing knowledge that for your article to represent or to reflect quality publications. And people can easily grasp what's the real conclusion of your research, and you use a correct way of citing and also referencing your literature, and you have a nice, as I said earlier, table and figure properly designed, and no any single error, right, grammatical or whatnot, right? And your publication reflects the quality of your research work. If the publication helps you to boost your citations, where you have quite big number of audience to read your article, your H index also improve, your publication is available or accepted in high impact factor journal, right? So that's another way to reflect your quality of publication. And finally, if you got published in the top tier journal, this is another aspect of consideration to reflect one article is quality publications or not. So if you can have like all this into one, that means the research that you are doing is very remarkable research, right? After all, in publications, quality is one side. Another side is that you have to ensure that you choose the right publications, and you have to do some screening or some research, some filtering in order for you to choose the best journal for your article. You have produced a good quality article. Now you want to find an avenue for your article to be published at, right? So think, check, and submit, and confirm with the journal where they can have like high impact journal, or you can go to the Scopus database to go through the history or chronology of the publications in the current year and still the previous year as well. It's supposed to be a reputable and trustworthy journal. That's the one that you have to go into detail. All right, I think I have taken my time. I have explained to you in a detailed manner about the quality publications where it's important that you use or publish in a quality manner in order to gain at the end, as we mentioned, you want to gain the citations, you want to increase your H index, and etc. This is the outcome of your quality publications. I think that's all for my sharing. I wish everyone all the best and enjoy the conference, and wishing you all the best. Have a nice day. Thank you so much. Assalamualaikum.
Thank you very much, Professor Dr. Haja Norazah Muhammad Suki, for a very enlightening session. And with Professor Norazah's session, we have concluded the 3 keynote speeches from our 3 great speakers. Thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you very much to Dr. Imran, to Professor Haniza, and Professor Norazah. Now, ladies and gentlemen, let us move on to the heart of the matter for today, which is the AIMC 2022. We will have 3 modes of presentation, and they are: the first being the normal video presentations, the second being the poster presentations competition, and the third being the flagship 5 slides, 5 minutes video competition. And this is the only competition like it in the world as far as we know, and it belongs to Connecting Asia. Next, what are the themes that we have for AIMC? And we have 4 themes, and they are Social Sciences and Humanities, or SSH, Life Sciences, or LS, Science, Technology, Engineering and Mathematics, or STEM, STEM, and Economics, Business and Management, or EBM. And you will be happy to note that the total submissions received for the 6th AIMC 2022 were 450 submissions, out of which 350 abstracts were accepted. And out of the 350, there were 120 normal video presentations, 130 5 slides, 5 minutes for the video competition, and 100 poster presentations for the poster competition. And the participants ranged from many different countries, 15 total countries altogether in the whole world. And this is a number that we are indeed very, very proud of, because Connecting Asia and the APRA are bodies which connect researchers together from all over the world, and we bring them to places like AIC and AIMC, where you are here today. Next, what are the publication options that we have? And we have publication options that are Scopus indexed journals, Web of Science, and also international refereed journals. So these journals are of reputable journals, and we strive to make sure that all the submissions meet the quality required for publications in good journals. Ladies and gentlemen, just a little bit more information about Connecting Asia. Connecting Asia is a research network of more than 10,000 members and 12,000 social media followers from 42 countries from all over the world. And Connecting Asia plays a leading role in facilitating the information exchange and furthering education by coordinating workshops, meetings, and conferences like the one we have today. And as we are approaching the end of the opening ceremony for today, I have a very important announcement to make. Ladies and gentlemen, as we all know, for the past 2 years, all our meetings, all our conferences have been done online, have been done virtually. They're good, but they are no way as fulfilling as a good old-fashioned face-to-face conference. And so, ladies and gentlemen, it is with great pleasure that I announce that the AIMC-2022 will be conducted on 10th December 2022 at KLCC in the Kuala Lumpur City Centre Convention Centre after an absence of 2 years. And ladies and gentlemen, this is the most premier destination for conferences that we have in the entire country. Be there for our great comeback. We can't wait to see you face to face in real life, not just behind a screen. And also announcing that the Asia International Innovation Exhibition, or the INEX, will be conducted on the same day. So stay tuned for that as well. Lots of exciting things to come, and we know that you are going to enjoy them greatly and that you are going to benefit greatly from these programs too. And before we end, we will announce the winners of the 5 slides, 5 minutes competition, the normal video presentations, and the poster presentations during the closing ceremony. Ladies and gentlemen, the conference is now open, and we hope that you have a great conference ahead. This is Dr. Abdullah Muhammad Nawi, your host for AIMC 2022, also the president of the Malaysia chapter of the APRA, the Association for Professional Researchers and Academicians. Wishing you a great conference ahead and hope to see you soon in real life. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. I'll see you again.